Why were you late, Tom?
Why was I late?
Yeah.
Because trying to find this place out in Bricktown and walking here on foot.
Leisurely walked over here. I thought about doing this podcast in an accent. I don't know.
What accent do you
I don't
have?
know. Do you have any?
I don't.
I don't. We better not do that. Well, we're here in Oklahoma City. Thank you, Pharaoh Energy Services, for giving this space. We are wanting to, let you know there's a upcoming Oklahoma Energy Producers Alliance. Not expo, really, just their conference.
It's our annual meeting.
It's
our annual meeting, March 27th and 28th. Got a big program going on.
Well, introduce yourself first.
Okay.
Hi, those who don't know this
I'm Tom McCasland. I'm chair of the Oklahoma Energy Producers Alliance here in Oklahoma City. I'm here in Oklahoma City. I'm with Mack Energy Company. And I'm here to invite you to our annual meeting and listen to our speakers, talk to our people who have set up booths, and our supporters and our members.
There's so many great opportunities for anybody who attends to just get so much out of this, the group and the conference.
That's right. We have everyone from purchasers there. We have people that supply mud. We have all sorts of services there, in addition to just producers. So please come out. Small producers especially are invited. That's who we cater to.
Now, I'm really excited about our speakers. We better get to that right away.
Okay. Alex Epstein.
Yeah.
Of course, everyone knows him. He will be speaking. I've got the agenda fresh off
That's
the
good.
press.
Yeah, we need notes.
That's right. Fresh off the press. I'll give you a copy of this since it's a constant changing deal. But of course, he will speak after lunch. It looks like he's speaking for an hour, which will be interesting. But also, Gettner Drummond, our AG, who's been very active, especially at the national level.
Yes.
Will be there.
Thank goodness.
Exactly right.
There's a lot of moving parts to the industry right now.
We're going to have several people speak on marginal gas wells, navigating contracts and economics, fossil fuel. Of course, we'll have a panel of legislative people, and that is really key here to me. It's important to me because I want to know what's going on here at the state and the legislature.
Yeah, we were fortunate to have we get to go into the state capitol and sit down with everybody that's kind of involved in energy as far as lawmakers up at the state capitol, and that was
talking about our call up.
Yeah, we went in there and
you do a presentation.
Great presentation by the OEPA.
Right.
To those lawmakers to say, hey, here's where we're at as an industry.
That would be my cell phone.
Cell phones are great. They're useful. They're also made out of oil and gas, products. So we're happy to take calls, and he's a busy man, and you got a good ringtone. I'm proud of that.
It's Android.
I also have an Android. The one thing I took away from that is they are quite in need of us to continue to go and engage with them, because there's just so many things about oil and gas and energy that they might need a little help with.
Well, as you know, we have a full-time lobbyist. Matter of fact, we have a new one this year, a guy named Bobby Stem, who will be speaking and be on that panel. So you'll hear the issues that are before the legislature that are affecting us this year, and what our views are on them, and what's going on. Of course, right now, everything's a change. It changes every day.
Yep.
All these bills do. And several of the people that are bringing the legislation and are on the committees, the energy committees, there at the state.
Well, as the current president of the OEPA, I thought it was neat to see two things I was really interested in. One was was some legislation that they were going to work on to, maybe reduce some of the taxes at the wellhead if they were going to drill for natural gas, specifically for getting data centers into Oklahoma. That's pretty cool to say, hey, look, we can drill a natural gas well that powers a generator,
Right.
that powers, maybe a BESS system, backup, battery systems that then power that data center.
You just want to mine for Bitcoin.
Well, the data center could be as huge as a Google data center.
True.
I mean,
I agree.
you name it. I mean, but we've talked about this. It might be adopted as a whole, like, hey, by the way, we can drill a natural gas well and just set you guys up with your whole community on just this,
The
well.
power companies are trying to do some of that to supply, sole supplier.
Oklahoma has a lot of natural gas, and there's a very bright future for that microgrid structure.
There are a lot of other issues that are affecting us, whether it's plugging of wells. There's quite an orphaned well list at the state, as well as temporarily abandoned wells here in Oklahoma. There's legislation for that. There's just a number of things, including I think this year is the renewal date for the Oklahoma Energy Resources Board. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of things that are affecting all of us out there.
Yeah, what a great arm for education, and the OERB does so much, so that they need to stay.
This is the year to renew it.
Yep,
and
everybody needs to give them big props for all they've done. The other legislation was something that was brought up, when we were addressing the lawmakers, and that was it was more of a getting to go out and look at all these plugging and abandoning issues, and if you have maybe a desire to go out and run a camera in it or whatever, currently you are pretty much going to take over the plugging and abandoning liability if you want to go out and just take a look at the well.
Right.
And that's not really going to drive our industry to want to go out and do anything with them at all.
And that's especially important with the small producer.
Yeah.
That could go and do something else to enhance reserves.
Yeah.
The other thing, of course, that's very key, and we've had it for the last 2 annual meetings, there's no specific thing on it this year, is the marginal well tax and the things that are happening at the federal level.
Quado's coming.
All of this is still in law,
I know.
but we have a president now who's, I think, going to do, if he can't do away with it, it will be minimal, because it's such a nightmare to navigate, especially for the small producer.
I've seen that book, and it was really tough to get through. Most of it didn't even make sense to what we actually do in our industry. It was written by people who maybe hadn't ever been to the field.
If you have a workover unit out there, you have to calculate how much CO2 the workover unit emits, and that's, and then you add that to this total, and if it gets large enough, then you pay a tax on it. It's crazy for all of us to have to monitor this stuff.
And while you're working it over, if you happen to see a new species of endangered worm that we're going to bother that day, stop the presses. I just made that up.
When it comes to the feds, to me, it's crazy. It's kind of like when we were operating in Louisiana, in our company, we had stuff in the swamp, and you had to pay mitigation for the amount of space you used. If you put a stack up, if you put up a tower of any sort, whether it's a separator or whatever, you had to calculate the shade on the swamp and pay mitigation based on that too.
Paying to shade the swamp. Interesting.
Yeah, I know. Fortunately, I think we're putting a stop to a lot of that. So
this is why I want everybody, man, if you're in energy at all, it doesn't matter. If it doesn't even have to be just oil and gas. If you're just interested in anything that has to do with energy, I think it's valuable that people come to these,
Well,
meetings.
as much as anything too, there's a networking component. Friday night or Thursday night at the Dust Bowl lanes.
We have fun.
It's going to be fun. Come on out, have a beverage, talk to your fellow members, and learn what they're doing. If you have a problem, chances are everyone's had it, and you can solve it.
We all have a guy.
That's right, we all have a guy. And so that is Thursday night, and that's a lot of fun. And then, of course, there are booths set up by vendors, which we all use, and they have a lot of knowledge too. And so come out and visit our booths at
the partnerships are growing ever stronger in Oklahoma between vendors and operators, because we're a team.
That's right. And there is an insurance deal for our members and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot to ensure. It's our livelihood in our state. We're definitely the largest contributor to our tax base between our companies and our people who work, in our industry, for sure. Have you enjoyed, the last year I took a video of us doing a little commercial. Have you enjoyed this last year being the president?
Well, it's an awful lot.
It's a lot.
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm plugged into the issues. Another issue I didn't mention, surety.
Okay.
I think there's a bill out there that's going to change the surety requirements for operators. If you have, if there are permits for injection or whatever, there are a lot of things that are going on. But I want to be plugged in. I want to be ahead of the curve as an operator.
And give your
And that's where I learned all
knowledge
this.
and expertise to those lawmakers to go, hey, here's where we can partner with you to ensure that our state and
You'll get your input.
Yeah.
And there's a guy that's not only a regulatory person who's there at the commission meetings where they discuss regulations upcoming, and but also we have the lobbyist that goes in and talks to your legislator.
And I found, I mean, it's not like we're opposing lawmakers in our state capital that don't appreciate us as an industry.
No, it's a partnership.
It's definitely, yeah. They know that we're all in this together.
And we pay a lot of taxes.
Yeah, and we need it.
Like, yeah, exactly.
Oil and gas is not going to go away. You've got to get involved. If you're in this industry, I just think it's your duty.
We're believers in the future, and also the small producers. We're believers in that because that's ultimately who's here. Think about when the majors moved out, we ended up with all these wells. Who knows?
That is a fascinating. I got to go up to that office and speak with him, and he was pretty candid. He had roughly 19,000 orphan wells, if you will, on the Oklahoma books, and they're probably not going to do much other than plug and abandon them if it's left up to them.
Right.
They don't really have our resources. But the greater Oklahoma list of wells that are considered to be, non-producing right now that could make it to that list if not, careful, that was more like the 250,000 range of wells. Then that's a number that's staggering.
And they're concerned about it, and there's legislation for that. And you'll hear about it, since you're going to be there too.
I will be. Well, thank you, Alex, for coming down to this group. All the speakers that are going to be there are just fascinating. A lot of activities, a lot of great subject matter.
Come see us, meet the board members, meet your fellow members, learn and network.
Become members. And there's we just want to see everybody there. I love being part of
time.
All the groups in Oklahoma that promote oil and gas.
Thank you for doing this.
It's a blast. Tom McCasland, Mack Energy, and the OEPA, and we'll see you at the upcoming event.
See you there.
Take care. God bless you.
Bye. Bye-bye.